Welcome to the Workbench After Hours podcast. My name is Keith, and I'm your host. This is where we talk about the firearms community, shop talk, and everyday life experiences. Welcome to episode 49 of the Workbench After Hours podcast. Chris and Jacob are back with us this week, and Chris is going to tell us what we're drinking.
We are drinking Jim Beam apple-flavored bourbon. So all it says on here is it talks about their 200 years, and this is back then, I guess, 220-year history, a refreshing take of the family tradition. So supposedly it's got apple in it.
Really? You think?
Apple and bourbon. So,
All right. Yeah, they got several different flavored. I know you gave me a peach one for my birthday one year.
Yeah, that was before you were wanting whiskey, really.
Yep.
They do the fire and honey too, don't they?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think we've had this one.
I can't remember.
I've never had any of Beam's flavored stuff.
Yeah. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say it's gonna taste like apple.
You can smell it. You can smell the apple, that's for sure.
Ooh, that is sweet.
It smells very appley.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, that's apple bourbon, pretty much.
Yeah. So if you like apples and want a sweet whiskey,
Yeah.
A little bit of cranberry juice would make a good Washington apple.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
as it is.
Ooh.
all right, Jacob, you're gonna have to pass through the ice.
Yeah. Let's just get that going.
So, while he's doing that, the gun of the week this week, something a little different. The Chinese SKS. Okay, put it in the screen here, huh? So we did a whole episode regarding your CNR license and all that fun stuff. This is actually one of the guns that I got as a CNR. I will switch to this camera, get a little bit better view. But yeah, so I got this back when I was collecting Milsurp rifles. I was really into the Mosin Nagants, but I wanted something different. And so got the Chinese. I would really love a Yugo, but we can't get those.
Not easily.
Yeah, and they're really expensive. So,
But a very usable gun compared to a lot of the Milsurp, like Mosins and stuff, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I wouldn't
sorry.
ever consider defending myself with a Mosin, but an SKS is a totally different animal.
Yeah, because they actually make, I know Tapco and some other companies make stocks. So basically you just take the guts out of this and put on a polymer stock for it. Because this, I think when I bought this, it was like $300 or $400, I think, but it was in rough shape. When I got this thing, I was kind of pissed because when I opened it up and it was just covered in cosmoline as to be expected, but it was like rusted, like every part was like in bad shape. Obviously, I was expecting the stock to be in bad shape because that's just how these are.
Did you pick it up in person or did you order it?
Ordered it online.
Yeah,
It's one of those.
It's always a gamble.
You have no idea what you're getting. So I was pissed, but I went ahead and refinished it. So I took this thing down, every piece part, and I spent, God, I don't know how long trying to get all the cosmoline and crap off. And then there's rust spots everywhere too on it. So, and then I ended up refinishing the stock. I stripped it down to the bare wood. I sanded it very lightly. I didn't want to get rid of, obviously any markings on here or anything like that. So just did a very light sanding and then did this dark stain. I think the original stain on here was a little bit lighter, but cleaned up pretty good. There were some spots where it was pitting, but I took some gun cleaner, some Ballot and the quadruple steel wool and just kind of rubbed those areas pretty good. And that gets at least the surface rust out of there.
Yeah.
You'll still see the spots, and where it was on the blued part kind of gets rid of that finish, but at least gets rid of the rust. So the bayonet on this thing's freaking nice. There's nothing wrong with the bayonet. So it just kind of folds out. This has a cleaning rod up here, but yeah, the bayonet just kind of pulls down, goes forward, and there you go. If you run out of bullets,
Show us a charge.
Yep. So
I could not imagine having to ever use that back in the day.
no,
That would suck.
it would. So this is basically an AK before your modern AKs came out. Like the bolt and the springs, the way they're set up, are like pretty much the same.
Don't they make a higher capacity magazine for them too?
Yep, they make different magazines because this one's detachable. I think this
Is
has
it like the AKs? Do they like? Is there different variants of the mag?
Yeah, the mags are different. You can't put it in just a regular.
I mean, from SKS to SKS. Like AK to AK, they have variants in mags, depending on the model and year and like production.
I don't think so. I think they're
I
pretty
used
much.
to own a KS-47, which is an AR 7.62 rifle that takes AK mags, and their big thing was that it took all of the AK mags because some you can only buy like the steel mags or the I forget what year it is.
I don't know. Every time I see it, it just says SKS, so I don't think there's
Probably universal.
Yeah, but I like just the.
It's weird that it folds like that.
Yeah, that's if you want to shoot long distance, but
I wouldn't trust that.
But yeah, it's they're cool. They're cool collectors. I mean, I haven't shot this yet. I don't know if I ever will.
How long have you had it?
I think I've had this since like 2015 or 16, somewhere in there.
Pretty balanced rifle too, though.
Yeah, they're nice. Like SKSs are great rifles.
Yeah,
and it was cheap, obviously for a reason because it's a beat up gun. But I mean, just for the history fact of it, it's pretty cool.
Cool one to have in the collection, no matter what.
Yeah, so definitely something to have. And if you do have your CNR license, you could have one of these shipped directly to your house, as long as you have that.
And when you bought it, $400 might have seemed like a lot, but for a gun now, like a decent rifle, it's a pretty well priced rifle.
Yeah,
to
and
be
it's
still in that range.
Shoots 7.62 by 3.9, just like your normal AK. So it's crazy how similar to an AK it is, but it's like pre AK-47s. These things are cool. I think there's still militaries that use these.
Oh,
It reminds me of like the Mini 14 to the AR. Like it's kind of like the Mini 14 of AKs.
Safety's right here by the trigger, which is kind of nice. Versus I hate the safeties on the AK-47s. One, they're super hard.
I bought
to
an
move.
extended one on mine, but it made it easier because they're not easy to do.
But I mean, just like that is
flip a switch.
like, why couldn't they have brought that over to the AKs? But yeah, really cool. I think I bought this from, I want to say Classic Firearms. I have an unboxing video that's on this YouTube channel. It's really old. But and I think I have a video. I don't know if I recorded refinishing it, but I have what it looked like when I got it out of the box and then when I took it apart, and just looking at the parts, it's like, oh my God. I was pissed, but made it work. So yeah, gonna wait. And you can still find the Chinese ones. Like I said, I don't know what they're going for right now, but I would pick one up if you can, because don't know how much longer you'll be able to get those. Just like Mosins, everybody thought Mosins would be around forever.
Well, the origin of the gun too. It's crazy how that changes over time. Like the Chinese AKs, when they first came over, they were like everybody thought these are going to be horrible AKs. Now they're some of the Norinkos. They're so hard to find and one of the most expensive like basic ARs you can buy. Like, I mean, it's no arsenal or anything, but it's a nice AK for what a gun that was sold originally for $175.
Right. So you bought something or are buying something today.
I am.
Your next, working on your next gun.
Yeah, I'm gonna start a bucket list build of a BCM AR-15. I'm just gonna go with traditional 5.56, but doing a pinned 14.5 to stay legal. So, gonna be a nice light build. What I like about them is they have one of the lightest handguards in the industry. I think it's like under 2 ounces for the whole handguard, and then their barrel's one of the lightest, but it's fluted, so you can see like 50,000 plus round counts through one of these barrels because it's like really heavy on the back end, but flutes up thin and keeps the rifle nice and light. Garen Thumb has done a lot of reviews on it, and I followed him for years, and I've wanted one of these rifles. Like every time he's like, I'm going to show you an end of the world build. And it's like, it's the same rifle that you shoot. You know what I mean? You just rebuilt the same rifle, like slightly different that you reviewed last time. So,
Well, and I was always saying, like, if I were to get another AR, it'd be a BCM
Yeah.
because there's been so many tests where people, I think it was Military Arms Channel. I don't know if he's done anything recent with it, but he would take it and shoot it like thousands of rounds through it. Not like Iraq veteran where you're trying to melt it down, but
Yeah.
just normal constant shooting, send, 1,000 to 5,000 rounds and then not clean it. He'd put it away, not clean it, and then take it out, shoot another, 1,000 rounds or however many through it again and put it away and just see how many rounds he can get without cleaning that thing. And I think he stopped making the videos because it kept running. So
That's impressive.
Yeah.
On a traditional gas system rifle too, not a gas piston rifle that cleaned like is self-cleaning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's impressive.
For an AR, it's really good. And didn't lube it or anything. Like literally just
Check it out.
Nothing.
Start shooting.
I really used to want a Daniel Defense, and I don't know if you watch AK Operator at all.
Mm-mm.
He does torture test videos. He mostly does AKs, but he's done some ARs, and he did a Daniel Defense, like a $2,200 rifle, off-the-shelf rifle, and it made it to, I think, 2,500 rounds before it failed. But he does stuff like, he's not melting them down, but he will, like, I think the third test he does is he leaves it in a swamp for like 2 weeks, and all of the AKs run, and like, so you start doing that to ARs. It's a totally different breed. You can't just leave an AR underwater. They start having problems after that.
Yeah,
So.
grab it. It's over there in that box because I want you to see, because I don't know why they do it, but BCM whether it's
oil,
they're lower, you're buying a full rifle, they're upper, they coat that thing in so much oil. I guess I don't know. It's not like they're really gonna rust. I mean,
Cosmoline.
yeah, right. But so we found a deal because BCM lowers or anything right now is kind of hard to find. So Palmetto or Primary Arms had a deal where they had their blemished
it is oil.
lowers, and I was watching some YouTube videos and nobody really could see any blemish. It's supposed to be a cosmetic blemish, if anything. Function wise, it should function. Shouldn't be any issues with that. But somewhere there should be a cosmetic blemish.
I don't think I'm going to see. Well, maybe that's it right there. I don't know.
Oh no, it's so oily.
Yeah, it's really hard to tell.
even the stock is just covered in oil.
Yeah.
So have fun cleaning that.
But I'm excited to build this rifle.
But I mean, even if there is a little bit of a cosmetic, I mean, your gun's gonna get a little
Dinged up
damaged
or-
anyway.
Yeah.
So
It's going to be a shooter. It's not going to be a safe queen or anything like that. I plan on. I just I might even be able to, once I get in there, I might be able to get you guys out there. But I just got a lead on a range out in Cleveland, Missouri, which is near Lewisburg, a private range that a buddy wants to start shooting like 2-3 times a week out there. So
hell yeah.
it'd be nice to actually start shooting regularly again, as much as I've invested in guns.
But it's like, all right, I get that you want to put oil on the metal parts, but why all over the stock?
I don't know. That's
Yeah.
weird.
I think it's probably just the last thing they do. They just cover the thing.
Like, yeah,
Prevent for anything happen.
Yeah.
that way you can't say it came rusted.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely a gun.
Because they sit on the shelf for so long.
I know, right?
I've been looking for one for 6 months now. Like, blem or not, we couldn't find them in stock other than like way price gouged. I'm not spending $500 for a lower.
Yeah, luckily that one's complete. So all you gotta do is throw an upper on there and good to go.
All in a day.
I don't know. Why don't we just shoot it with all that oil? See what happens.
Yeah.
Need a
I'm
little
curious.
lube.
I'm curious to see because I'm gonna order just a pre-built upper from them. I'm curious to see how it comes. If it comes just as oily.
It does.
Yeah.
Yep. I've had some customers buy some through me, and then also I've had complete rifles for them that I sold, and they're just same way in that thick plastic, just coated in oil. So when I was transferring it to one guy, and I'm like, man, have fun cleaning that because like you can't just take it out and go shoot it.
No,
Like you have to wipe down everything.
Yep.
So yeah, have fun with that.
I mean, it's easier than assembling the whole thing. So
I don't know. I enjoy building.
I do, but this was just easier this time, and I'm gonna get exactly what I want.
Yep.
And my last 2 builds, I mean, I'm not a professional armorer, so I've put a couple nicks in my rifles that I might be the only one who knows where they are, but it still bothers me.
Mhm.
That barrel nut can get you. So
Yep.
Cool. Well, speaking of ARs, I don't know if I want to say friends, but our comrades in the
West Coast.
lower 48 are some are happy, but most are probably pissed off about not being able to own a. You could probably own one of those there, but as of next month, they can no longer have these standard capacity magazines that come with most ARs. So that's kind of a segue into our main topic: is the Oregon's measure, their ballot, whatever you want to call it, 114. It's not listed as a bill or anything like that, but if you haven't heard of it, it passed recently after all these elections last week, and it's some of the most strictest gun control we have yet that's passed. And
out of nowhere.
Everybody is always focused on the federal government passing gun control. They don't realize, hey, the states are doing the same thing. And like this is pretty close. It's not as bad as the 1808, but in some instances it is.
It seems like it's pretty close to the 1808.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't address banning actual guns, but it does ban magazines over 10 rounds. So I'll pull up a summary of what this is here. So basically, what does this change? And this is just Oregon. So, and we're going to see what parts of Oregon that this passed in and get a good idea of why this passed. But it enacted a law outlining a procedure to apply for a permit to purchase a firearm. So now if you want to buy a firearm in Oregon, you have to have a permit to do so. You can't just go buy one without
not just
permit.
Carry, but to purchase, which I don't think there's another state in the country that has that. Is there? Like New York has strict permitting laws, even if you have a permit. Like you're still very limited on even where you can carry with a permit. But I don't know of another state that has. You can't purchase initially without a permit.
What does the FOID card do?
That's like a background check for your ammo.
So I know you have to have one for a gun too. Like you have to present your FOID card, and I know Illinois has that, or at least Chicago.
Yeah, I know Illinois has it, but I don't know because I know that you got to have that for buying ammo. I don't know if it is that way for the gun too.
I don't know, but yeah, just the purchase, and this is per gun that you purchased. You have to have this permit, even if you've legally bought a gun, like say the day before. This
you have to get re-permitted per gun.
I don't know if it's per gun, but I think that you still have to go through a waiting period through the background check.
Yeah.
But it was designed to have permits issued by the Department of State Police, so they're sheriffs. Applicants are required to pay a fee. Imagine that. Submit photo ID, be fingerprinted, complete approved safety training, pass a criminal background check, and not be prohibited from possessing firearms. The Department of State Police are able to deny a permit to an applicant believed to be in danger to others or themselves, or if an applicant is prohibited from possessing a firearm. Well, no shit.
Which is that's all already law. It's just basically making you to get a concealed carry before purchase.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The initiative also prohibited the manufacture, importation, possession, use, purchase, sale, or otherwise transferring of ammunition magazines capable of holding more than 10 rounds. And if you get caught with that, then you get a Class A misdemeanor, and you can get up to 364 days in jail and a fine of up to $6,250,000. $6,250.
That's a big difference.
Yeah, but not a full year in jail. 364 days. So
you're safe.
Yeah. But so not only is this making it really hard for you to purchase a gun by having this permit, most guns that you get, like that BCM, if you were to buy that rifle, would come with a standard capacity magazine. So these manufacturers, they come up with those California ones that, you have to meet those requirements. They're going to have to, if they want to sell to Oregon, they're going to have to start selling those with 10-round magazines.
Yeah.
Which sucks. Like when you have a gun like we did a few weeks ago, the Springfield XDM.
Yeah.
You buy that because it can hold 19 plus 1. You don't buy that for 10 rounds.
Yeah.
Like you're going to have this large, full-size gun, and you only get 10 rounds.
Now there's a market for making undersized magazines for these larger capacity guns just to be compliant in these other states.
Stupid.
Yeah.
And this is state level, not the federal level yet,
Yeah.
which everybody's worried about the federal government doing that. Well, hey, your states can do the same damn thing. And in this case, make it even harder.
Well, it's almost worse at the state level, in my opinion, because at the federal level, like if your local government is cool, they may choose not to enforce that law.
And because this is supposed to be, the permit process is supposed to go through the sheriff's department, the sheriffs in a lot of these counties are like, we are not going to enforce this. One, we don't agree with it. Two, we don't have the manpower or funds because this is going to cost a ridiculous amount of money.
Yeah, they didn't do any framework for them. Not only that, but there's no way to enforce the magazine ban unless you do a magazine registration and have that in by that date. Like you'd have to submit a registration and serialize your magazines, or how would they know that you transferred it? You know what I mean? Like so they could just show up and say, hey, your neighbor said he sold you one of these and you've had it, pre-ban.
Yeah.
And then, you're basically caught up in like red flag laws and you didn't even do anything.
Yeah. So in the preamble to this actual thing here, I don't think it says anything about anything being grandfathered in. It doesn't say anything about like what happens to the magazines that you have. It's just any future purchase.
But there's no way to keep track of that.
Yeah. Let me see if I can.
That and then so does they know what they didn't say in there, or at least I don't think it says in there. It doesn't say anything about local law enforcement having to abide by that. You remember in the 1808 bill how it says this does not apply to your local.
Yeah,
or
actually,
that's true.
In this thing, it says that this does not apply to law enforcement. So
that'd be
if
hilarious.
I can get it to scroll down.
Like, all right, law enforcement, police officers, give us.
So there's like the whole process to get this permit. That's
the ironic part. There is if you were an officer and you stayed an officer, you'd be allowed to keep your 30-round magazine in your AR. But as soon as you retired, they couldn't give it to another officer. Or what if, like, in the heat of like the moment, you slid a 30-round magazine to an officer that was like a new hire and he wasn't allowed to have one?
That'd be funny.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything.
Oh, you get $6,200 fine and
364 days.
Yeah.
Have fun. I don't understand a lot of this shit. Like, let's put you in jail for 364 days. Aren't most of our jails over capacity right now?
Oh, yeah.
And you're just going to throw stupid shit in like this? Like, come on.
Yeah.
It's almost like they want to make everyone a felon so then no one can have guns.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what it's coming down to.
Exceptions. Armed Forces of the United States. So
Armed forces.
Our military can have these. Imagine that.
That's nice.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if it says.
I don't see law enforcement on there.
Oh, neither.
I'm sure they have to have they have to have written that in there.
Watch, they did, and they're gonna be fucked.
I mean, did their cops in Portland even carry guns? I mean, did you see? Because they had all that rioting, right?
Yeah, they had that one zone up there,
Yeah.
the autonomous zone or whatever.
I don't know, but
I don't see it in there. So
and here's the funny thing about this whole measure that got passed. There's nothing back behind this. Like, there's no permit process. There's no permit application yet. This goes into
the fee isn't even figured out.
Yeah, this goes into effect December.
There's nothing written at all.
Yeah, like there's it, and everything. If you get into it, everything's so vague that, like, how's this going to work? Like,
it's basically impossible.
Yeah.
After the 7th of December.
And if you, as a gun dealer, are in Oregon and say this goes into effect and they still don't have the permit process or an application, or there's a lot of kinks to work out, you have no way to make money other than to sell out of state if this allows you to. So this is a good way to, oh, hey, we can't ban all guns, so let's find a way to get
Well,
gun
and you know
dealers out
how
of
that
business.
goes. Like, as a small FFL,
Mhm.
are you really going to be competitive nationwide online?
Nope.
You can't do the volume to do that.
And shipping is so expensive, especially like if I don't have a big FedEx account, so shipping for me
Even if you
is
waived
super expensive.
FFL fees somehow, or I mean, there's not a lot you could do to be competitive,
Yeah.
period, price wise. You know how people are at gun shows. Well, I can get this for a nickel cheaper,
Mhm.
Yeah, and then you gotta wait for it.
Yeah, and okay, and then you're gonna pay me $25 for your transfer, more
fee,
than you saved. Like,
So if you start seeing some guns pop up like really expensive for some reason, and it shouldn't be compared to everything else, oh, they're in Oregon. That's why. But yeah, just the fact that this passed, but they don't have the processes behind to enforce this. And the sheriff's department came out and was like, hey, we don't have the funds or manpower. Like, we are severely understaffed. We can't. But this passed and is going to go into law. So what do you do between that time period from when this becomes
now
law?
and less than a month from now.
Yeah. I saw a comment somewhere where there was a guy that works at a gun shop in Oregon, and there are already over 10,000 requests for a background process check. Because in Oregon, they don't go through the regular NICS. They go through the sheriff's department still does the background check. So it's a little different out there anyway. But there's so many people in line or in waiting to get their background back.
Oh, so many people are gonna get caught on
Like there's
failing,
people,
and
yeah.
then you get put in the back of that line again, and
Well, yeah. So it's like if you,
That
common names trip you up.
Yeah.
that and the process time to
Yeah.
do all that. By the time,
Yeah.
they'll be screwed.
Yeah.
yeah. So if you haven't bought a gun yet, you probably
If
aren't
you
gonna be
are
able to.
in Oregon, Palmetto State Armory at the top of their website right now, they have a disclaimer saying that any and all orders for high capacity mag or anything over a 10-round mag, they will prioritize shipping to Oregon over all their other orders to get it out to you before that date, just to try to get more magazines.
So then that means
grandfathered
there is
in.
no grandfather law in here. That's basically like you don't have to register. Like,
Well, but they won't be allowed to sell to them as an online seller.
right.
Yeah.
But there's nothing saying that once this goes into effect and you have these magazines, you're not automatically a felon or anything. Or
There's no registry,
Yeah.
which I mean, which we would agree with. We would complain about that if they put that in there, but it's also impossible to enforce without.
Yeah.
I mean, the basic idea is, let's say I only own one gun. It's an AR-15, and I have 3 30-round magazines, and I'm grandfathered in. And then time goes by, and I want 10 more. If I just drive to a neighboring state that doesn't have that law and bring them back, they would never know, if they're not serialized or registered, that I didn't have those pre-ban.
Yeah.
There's no way to tell unless it was on the date of the magazine somehow. So as long as you bought a retro mag or something vintage, you'd be fine.
or if you go to a
Bill
gun
search.
show in another state, you can buy an AR with a 30-round magazine
Yeah.
because it's just pistols you can't buy out of state. You could still buy a rifle.
Yeah.
So you could go to another state and buy it and just bring it back. How are you going to prove? Throw away the receipt, then how are they going to know?
Yeah.
I've had this forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is the map of voters here. So there were 29. So most counties voted against this, but the ones that voted for it are where the big cities like Portland are. So realistically, most of the state doesn't want this.
Yeah.
It's the areas where
Out of 30-something counties, 4 voted yes and 1 was split. Is that what that is?
yeah, green is yes, red is no, and then that tie right there.
See, that's
That
what I
yellow.
hate about this bullshit. Like,
Just be-
majority of the fucking state hates it, but you got these 4 or 5 counties that are more populated voted yes.
Welcome to Joe Biden.
Yeah,
and the
I
ones
know.
that voted yes are the ones that also destroyed their town during that whole
autonomous zone, and we're killing people and getting away with it.
because they follow the law.
Yeah.
Speaking of following the law,
And to me, then fine, make it illegal in those counties,
Yeah.
not
The whole
the other
state.
counties. Yeah.
Yeah.
so I found this. Colia Noor posted this about passing that gun measure. It brings joy and sadness. Michael Fuller, who's a Portland civil rights lawyer, had a different reason for voting yes. My preferred concealed carry weapon does not have more than 10 rounds in a magazine anyway, he wrote on Twitter. So I figured that passing 114 would make it less likely I would be outgunned if I were in a gunfight with an active shooter.
That's one way to look at it.
So who wants to tell this guy that active shooter is not going to follow this gun law?
Well, it's a law. It should work. Get the fuck out of here.
First of all, don't hire this guy as your attorney.
Go on Twitter and just light his ass up.
Oh, people
Freedom
were.
of speech now.
People were. It's like, okay, it's affecting you as a responsible gun owner, but that encounter with an active shooter or just any situation, somebody trying to
Not
rob
only
you.
that, it's your constitutional right. Fuck. What the hell are we doing? You're going to take away this stuff. Let's start going after other shit.
Yeah. There is, 27 words in the Second Amendment?
Yeah.
I forget the name of the papers that we had to write, but I remember my senior year, we had to write a paper that was like an extreme solution to something. Like, say that, like, to solve, world hunger, like, you'd start cannibalism or something like that. Like, someone wrote a paper like that about all of these gun laws, and he's like, I want it to be just like the forefathers intended. And he had a scenario where, like, 4 intruders are breaking into his house, and he's like, I had 2 muskets ready, and I shot the first one with a musket, then grabbed my second musket because I didn't have time to reload, shot the second one, and he's like, I grabbed my smoothbore pistol, which, still from back then. He's like, but it missed and hit my neighbor's dog. He goes, so I ran upstairs and had a cannon loaded. He's like, this is what the forefathers would have wanted. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that it interpreted like, yeah, they would have wanted us to update for the times. You know what I mean? If that's the case, then the forefathers wanted our current military to go to war with muskets. If you interpret it that way, then what are they doing in other countries with AR-15s or M4s, not AR-15s? But
Yeah.
Especially in that area, because those protests, I mean, that mob was
Ridiculous.
yeah. So if you're limited to 10 rounds, you're pretty much fucked. Like, even if you had magazines upon magazines of 30 rounds, like, you're still probably fucked. But
Yeah.
well, a sheriff's office also did a test on that. Like, even limiting magazines, like, if it was an unarmed person charging you, you cannot stop. So the idea is that you're unarmed. Most people are going to be unarmed. This is supposed to stop people that aren't armed. You know what I mean? It's supposed to stop an active shooter versus an unarmed person. An unarmed person, even with like a knife, cannot charge any person with a 10-round magazine from the time that they spend that last 10th round and reload that gun and fire again from, like, I think within 15 feet is what they found out. Like, you cannot run at someone and touch them before they could reload and shoot you. And that is an average shooter. I mean, they did like 100 shooters and you could not stop them. So it doesn't stop it. It just means you have to carry 40 10-round mags instead of 10 40-round mags,
And then again, we're talking about people that want to cause harm. They're not going to follow the fucking law.
Correct.
So,
But
guess what they're going to have?
According to Michael Fuller, the active shooter's not breaking any laws. So he's going to abide by the...
He's only
by this
there
one.
to
An
commit
active
murder,
shooter,
but
yeah.
not break gun laws.
Right. He's going to break the... hey, you can't kill anybody. Well, of course, who knows? Maybe they're going to make it legal to kill people in Portland. You never know. But yeah,
Like,
he's going
technically
to
did when they
break
did
that
it
law,
with
but
Thomas
follow
Sowell.
the gun law because he doesn't want to spend 364 days in jail. Like
Jesus.
that's got to be the most ridiculous
Where do these people
tweet
go?
I've ever seen.
Where do these people go get their fucking degrees anymore? Are they just getting it online at like these unaccredited institutes?
And just because of this, I mean, he would still have access to a 30-round magazine because if he or one of his family members or friends had a 30-round magazine before this goes into effect, he could just grab that and
Most of these, let's just use actual common sense here. The bulk of what people are worried about in an active shooter scenario, there are a few rare mass shooter scenarios at like concerts and stuff, but the bulk of it in America is school shootings. The bulk of school shooters are limited to the access of a gun from someone else. They're not even old enough to purchase these weapons most of the time.
But
You
yeah,
know,
they're
or if
still
they
getting
are,
them.
they're barely 18. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Then very rarely did they purchase the Uvalde. The guy did purchase the guns himself. That's the only school shooter I can think of that purchase these weapons legally on their own. So the gun purchasing laws aren't even affecting them. And then when you grandfather in all this stuff anyways, it's what are we really stopping here? Like
Nothing. Well, and did you see? So the recent shooting, I wouldn't call it a mass shooting, but
At Virginia.
the Virginia football player that shot 3 of his teammates,
I didn't see that.
he shot him with a handgun, and the White House immediately came out with pushing to ban assault weapons. This has nothing to do with an assault weapon. It was a handgun.
He was probably of legal age too.
Yeah, because he's in college. So
Yeah.
yeah. So it's like they don't waste a tragedy at all. Like,
Yeah.
but it's the fact that a handgun, but we need to ban assault weapons.
Yeah.
People
Hey,
don't need an
Why don't
assault
you go
weapon
say
to
sorry to
commit
the
a crime,
family first instead of just jumping to conclusions?
right?
He probably forgot where he was though and almost fell off the stage. Oh man.
Yeah. So sucks if you live in Oregon.
I think what we need to start doing is all these people that want this shit here. This state is directly made for you. Y'all can go live there and have your fucking harmony bullshit. Everyone else that wants this shit and wants their guns, come to these states.
So basically, all
You
of
wanna
us need to
fucking-
move to Texas.
Well, there's a loophole in supercars. I'm real
Yeah.
big into cars. There's a loophole in supercars specifically for sales tax. If you, I believe it's Wisconsin. If you can buy a yard of land, and guys will break up hundreds of acres and sell them by the yard. It's the minimum amount you need. You start an LLC there, and then you now own land in Wisconsin with a business in Wisconsin. You register the car to that business, and then they're exempt from sales tax. So, but might not see, like, I mean, it's a decent amount of money for like you and I, but on a $400,000-$500,000 car, you're talking about
Yeah.
more than my truck's worth
Mhm.
in sales tax that they just saved by doing this. So I wonder if there's a way that you could make your main residency another state like this to get around these laws. You know what I mean? If you said, "Hey, my main residency's in Idaho,"
I'm sure you can. It's just like the military. Like you might be stationed in California, but your permanent address is here.
correct? Yeah, if it was a second home or
Yeah.
a vacation home, even though
Yeah.
So somehow, Mike, I have a cousin who has a permanent address in Maryland, and she has a business there. She recently opened one in Florida, and they bought a house too. She has a valid driver's license in both states and can legally buy guns in both states. Because I've shipped one to Maryland and I shipped one to Florida, and she was able to get them both. So she's able to get a permanent address in both states.
Yeah.
I don't know how she does it.
Interesting.
If it's because she has to. I'm like, how often? How do you?
they probably don't cross-reference that, so it's just allowed.
Well, I'm like, how
probably don't
often
communicate.
do you spend, in Florida versus this? She goes 6 months in a day. So there's
So it's
something,
50-50 time frame in each one. So
and
yeah,
I think
you
it's,
can be a permanent resident for
I
both.
think it has to be because she owns a business. There's something there, but she has a Maryland driver's license and a Florida one, which normally you can only have
yeah.
Yeah.
one or the other. But I think there's something to do with having a business. So maybe if you are in Oregon, start a business somewhere at a
But you're
PO
also
box.
at a point of like privilege and wealth that like
Yeah.
that's not accessible to everybody. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a good loophole if you can swing it.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's the same thing too. Like if you're Dan Bilzerian, you can shoot your fully automatic 50 cal out of a helicopter with 6 half-naked girls that we'll never be able to afford to do. You know, with money comes a lot of that privilege that you can get around that stuff. That
Yeah. To a point.
true. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
to an extreme
Yeah.
point, to a very extreme point.
So this, Oregon. And this is probably mostly because of Portland. Like
Oh, I'm
most,
sure it is.
Yeah.
I wish it said the number of people in each of these areas. I think Portland's up here
Yeah.
ish, maybe. I worked in Oregon for a little while. I worked in Salem. Oregon's really nice. Just their politics suck. And about to suck really bad.
Aren't they didn't they like legalize like hard drugs too? I think they decriminalized hard drugs, not legalized, but decriminalized hard drugs.
Well,
I think like it's really hard to get like in trouble for having heroin or all sorts of crazy shit that should
Be illegal.
be.
sounds right. But same thing like how Missouri just passed recreational marijuana. What's to stop people from Kansas City, like on the Kansas side, going over there, buying it, bringing it back here?
Nothing.
So same thing with Oregon and that.
Just don't get caught with it
Just
over
go,
here, I
go
guess.
across the lines. Yeah, pretty much. You'll start seeing cops sitting at state line watching
yeah.
for Kansas license plates.
Well, I'm sure it's just like
Oh,
that
yeah.
on Colorado. They were doing that for the longest time. People were taking U-Hauls over there.
At least here, there's a lot more roads than
Yeah.
going from Colorado to.
Kansas.
They'll be
Kansas.
watching the highways,
Yeah.
not people that live 15 minutes away.
Yeah.
And even then, even if you know somebody, you could just have them bring it to you with their Missouri license plate. Like,
Yep.
Or just have a friend in Missouri meet you up there. Like, let's go to my house.
yeah,
Yeah.
Well, I guess you couldn't because you can't bring it over state lines.
correct. That's when it becomes illegal. But you're not gonna. I mean, how many times do you drive back and forth between state lines, period, and don't get pulled over? So it's not that crazy to think you could get away with it.
Yeah, I may or may not have crossed state lines with a silencer.
Speaking
Whoops.
of silencers, have you seen the new JK Armament CCX concealed carry 9mm silencer?
Mm-mm.
It's a 1.9-inch silencer that fits in a concealed carry holster and has enough sound suppression to comfortably shoot without ear protection. So you could put it on your concealed carry gun, draw with it. It's only, I mean, it's a 1.9-inch basically comp on the end, but it's a silencer. It's loud for a silencer, but enough that you're not going to hurt your ears as much otherwise. And so you actually can order it from anywhere from 1.9 inches to 4.6, and you get more sound suppression per length.
But you could get it at 1.9.
Yes.
So you're saying size doesn't matter.
Correct.
Nice.
Ding,
No,
ding,
I
ding.
actually have not heard of that.
It's pretty cool. I think it's out in like the last month or so.
Hmm.
Saw some videos on it though. The guy was comfortably shooting without ear protection. I think
Did they have a price on them?
they're $400.
That ain't too
Really?
bad.
Yeah, for a specialty
good.
new item like that,
Yeah.
I thought that was in line well. I'm sure it's even a 6-inch 9mm,
You're looking at
suppressor
$500,
is still
$600.
pretty loud.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
I still wear ear protection when I shoot all my suppressors.
9mm it's a high speed round. It's gonna be loud. It's breaking that supersonic
Yeah.
speed. It's gonna have a crack regardless of what it goes through.
So budget $400. You're gonna have to budget for $600 for that $200 tax stamp.
Yep.
And wait however long.
But your average suppressor runs $400, in my opinion. I mean, there's not very many. But the Po' Boy for like your AR like 30 caliber rifles, they have a $200 one. That's the cheapest one I know of. That it's full auto capable. But other than that, I don't know of many that are under $400.
Yeah.
I got my 22 LR one for $99.
Yeah.
Sig,
Yeah,
but it's
But you
22.
also had-
22.
Yeah,
You
it's
also
like
had to buy your
so
other
tiny.
one to get it, didn't you, for that price?
How to what?
Did you have to buy your other suppressor for that price?
Yeah, I bought my
Yeah. So,
Yeah, that's
so
a part of it,
really.
too.
yeah. I bought the Sig 30 caliber one for my 300 blackout, and they're like, oh, well, for $99 you can buy this one, which it was a lot more expensive than $99. I'm like, well, I'm gonna do that, but then I had 2 different tax stamps.
Yeah.
I'm like, I might as well do it now and save the money, even though I'm paying more money up front. But
So really, it cost you $299.
yes, add $200 to whatever the price of the suppressor is. You gonna buy one?
I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know?
I don't know. I'd want it for the 6.5, and then I'd want one for the 9mm.
You know, that's funny. That's nothing that you really hear them trying to fight is suppressors.
Yep.
It's already regulated and it's very rare. Like, and it's also, they can't really fight it much until it gets used. You know what I mean? As soon as anything's used, they fight it. Like, I don't remember the specific shooting. I'm pretty sure there was one down in Texas like 3 years ago, and then they went after body armor because the guy wore body armor.
Yeah.
But it didn't help him at all. Like, it didn't change the outcome of them stopping him or anything. Like, but because he wore it, they wanted to ban body armor.
Yeah, I remember that, and I bought some body armor. I'm like, I'm gonna buy some before.
Yeah, and now I've learned so much since I bought. Just like getting into guns, I wasn't into body armor, so I knew what level I wanted, so I bought level 3. I bought stuff that would stop like the green tip AR, right? But it's curved steel plates. I bought the most expensive one I could, curved with Spalding, and then I've learned since like should have just gone ceramic, like through LA Police Gear for half the money of what I have in mine. It's a way better plate, but
A little bit lighter.
yeah,
That's what I did.
thicker, but
Yeah.
way lighter.
Yeah.
Mine are 16-pound plates a piece. Like my wife, I bought my wife a set too, and she, I mean, we're gonna die trying to run away when she has them on.
Yep, I bought mine from LA Police Gear
Yeah,
because they were cheaper than buying it through like AR 500.
they're not certified, but that's what they tell you in their website.
Mhm.
Like, so they don't meet the federal regulation to be certified to whatever they are, but they will show you them shooting their plates. And if they say it's level 3, it's really level 4. If they say it's level 4, it's like way high for level 4.
It's because the certification process is so expensive.
$30,000 per plate.
Yeah. So they're like, nah.
Yeah, and they said we would rather offer the discount to our customers than be certified. So we're selling non-certified body armor.
Why not?
Yeah. And what I've seen about the stuff I have, like even with the Spalding, there was a guy that I have AR 500 plates. Not to call them out. I mean, they're a decent company, but I saw a guy that did a video where it was on a dummy and he strapped on a plate, exactly the plate that I have, and then he covers it in balloons, and all the balloons around the dummy's head pop from the Spalding of the round. So he's like, that's just shearing off your nose, your chin. I'm like, great. Like, good to know.
Thanks
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
Nice.
Because the round has to go somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest, not a fan.
It got
The
a lot
whiskey.
sweeter on ice.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, it's
Like a lot sweeter on ice.
It's probably a good whiskey for
Somebody-
just getting into whiskey.
Mhm.
I think with some cranberry,
Yeah.
it'd be a good,
I bet
it'd be a
it's
good mixed drink.
right.
Yeah.
And I wonder how it'd be maybe even warm with something, like if you mixed it in something warm.
I want to do what we did down there at Jack Daniels and do the fire and the apple and have the apple baked pie.
That'd be cool.
It's
Actually,
oh.
is there Jim Beam fire back there?
I don't see any.
Because
I bought you fire, I thought.
I don't know, it should be in there.
I'll get up and look.
Yeah, you got the easiest chair to get up out of. If so, we could try that. But yeah, just now that I'm really liking whiskey, I
Yeah.
don't like this flavored stuff anymore.
Once you acquire the taste for just
Mhm.
straight whiskey, yeah.
It's way too sweet. It should be in the globe. Might be downstairs then. I had to make room when I was stocking up on it.
Oh no. Feel so bad for you.
I know.
Created a monster.
Yeah. It might be in the basement because I have another Weller's down in the basement. A couple
So
other
you're,
things.
so you're kind of doing what I'm doing, having it in different spots, and
Mhm.
then the wife finds it, and you're like, "Fuck! Please don't find it."
That one stuff you brought over that was really sweet too. Is down there. I forgot what it was. That had a dog on it on the bottle.
Oh, that was the praline whiskey.
Yeah, I think that's downstairs.
Yeah,
And I think
tastes like candy.
technically that smaller bottle of single barrel, I think that's yours.
Yeah, but I kept it here.
We're gonna have to bust that open here pretty soon.
It's good. That's a higher proof one.
Chris has
too.
moved on to multiple locations away from his house.
Yeah, not only multiple
He's
rooms
got
in this house.
stashes along the way. If he has to bug out, he knows where he can have a cocktail.
Yep.
Yes.
Honey, I'll be back. I need to go get something from the store. Just stop over here. Have
You
a
guys
quick
are
one.
you guys are like Rosedale playing disc golf, and Chris has a shovel. He's got like one of those tubes buried in the ground with whiskey in it.
What are you doing? Shh.
Man, I got 2 of those ammo things that you're supposed to bury in the ground. I bought those like during the pandemic when shit was getting crazy.
Yeah.
Like you never know, because if they do outlaw, the feds outlaw like ARs or something stupid, and they actually start going door to door, I'm gonna put that shit. Actually, I'm not gonna say where I'm gonna put it, but I gotta.
He has an idea.
Hypothetically, if
A person could.
a person could put it somewhere underneath a structure underground, because they're like, like you put them in plastic and then they're sealed, and you bury them, and
Yep.
if the structure's over it, who's gonna know? Other
Even
than
in a
you?
pinch, you could buy a large diameter PVC pipe, cap it, seal it with glue, and do the same thing.
Not that I would ever do that,
No.
because if it's illegal, I shouldn't have it and won't have it. It'll
Yeah.
get lost
I
somewhere.
would comply immediately.
Yes,
And
definitely.
vote for Biden.
Definitely. If Biden says I can't have an AR, then damn it, I'm not going to have an AR.
Correct.
If he says let us buy it back, I'm going to let it buy him back. I'm going to let him have it for free.
I'm gonna make a bunch.
If he
Because-
says electric cars are the way to go, and then post a picture of his second generation Corvette gas guzzler, I'm definitely going to get rid of my Trans Am. 'Cause
You know what? What's funny? You know how like the government's in like so much debt.
yeah.
What do you think
A
their
little bit.
What do you think their credit score is? Like, if you could still borrow all this money, be this much in debt, why can't all of us? Because
Well, that's what baffles me. Like all these other countries aren't stupid enough to do what we do. But like Ukraine, for example, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, we'll take $1 billion from you, aka China."
Mhm.
Like, and to me, like China's just funding a war against themselves. Like, when do they stop? Like, I don't know.
and Biden wants to send them more money.
China issued publicly this last week that, like, to their country, like, we're gearing up. Be prepared to see a shift. We're gearing up for war.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's scary.
yeah.
So,
But
all
they've
of-
also pinned themselves like against Russia. They've already told Russia like, if anything goes nuclear, we do not have your back.
Yeah.
Period. You can count
That
us. You can
shit-
count us out on that one.
'cause that stuff is blowing our way.
yeah.
They'll
Yeah.
have. Well, what sucks is if we ever were in a war where China was not our ally, cost of our goods are going to go up. Like you thought there was pandemic shortage was crazy. Imagine
They just need to
that.
bring everything back over here and we manufacture.
you can't-
Under Obama made a deal where we got a better price on antibiotics, but there's basically one ingredient that goes into like the base of all antibiotics. The only place in the world that manufactures it now is China. That's it. So if we go pin against them, we can't get antibiotics, period. Which is terrifying.
Yep.
Yeah, that's kind of scary.
Yeah, no, I mean that shouldn't be that way. Like, what if they had a natural disaster or something? Like,
Yeah.
what if they went to war with another country, not us? And you know what I mean?
Just get
At least someone else should make it, even if it's not us. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
My sister was she's having a bunch of health issues because of COVID and some other stuff, but she was asking her doctor if this one medicine that she needs a prescription. I forgot what it's for, what it was, but she asked her doctor, "Hey, can I stock up on this somehow in case something happens?" They're like, "No, because the government is actually stockpiling this medication that you cannot have more than I prescribe you." So the government's stocking up on something.
That's
I
kind of
I
weird.
forgot what it was for, but
That's
They have
weird.
natural stockpiles of medication, period. in
Yeah.
case stuff happens. But yeah. And apparently what I've heard, so like they recently bought all that stuff. I forget the exact medication, but it's for nuclear radiation poisoning that they bought, like $350 million of that. So they actually have a reserve of that. And what we do, it's kind of smart. So we have agreements with all the major like pharma companies. So we already had a stockpile of that. But let's say it was 7 of 10 years to expiration. We just bought $350 million more, and then we sold everything we had back at a discount, and they just put it to the front of the line and get it used as it is at a discounted rate. So it's kind of neat that at least we're not completely pissing away all this money every 10 years on medication that doesn't get used, that's just sitting in a bunker. You know what I mean? It's at least better thought out than I would have thought it was. So probably happened during a Republican president.
Yeah, it's scary to think about what's going on. Their navy's growing, ours is not.
Yeah.
Like they got the largest navy now in the world. That I don't know if this should be good or bad. We got technology, but it's kind of scary.
I feel like Russia and China both lie about their technology.
Yeah.
Russia, they'll say we have the biggest, baddest everything, and then in reality they don't.
Yeah, it's shit.
Yeah, it's a tenth of what they claimed it was. In China, they'll say, "Oh yeah, our stuff it's okay," and it's like way better than they ever let on.
Because they go and copy everyone else's stuff. They'll buy it, bring it over there. Okay, this is how they make it. We can make it cheaper, and we can have a lot more of them.
Yep. That's their whole civilization, though. But it also has led to good innovation. I mean, since the 90s, all their cell phones have been waterproof.
Yeah.
And all it takes is just dipping a board in silicone before they put it in the phone, which we could have been doing this whole time. But the only reason we don't is because the insurance company is Shurion.
Yeah.
They won't allow it. They won't insure your phone if you have a silicone dip board. So they wouldn't let us do it because of capitalism bullshit. Like,
yeah, it's nuts. Like, I was talking to someone, and they like our little, those little utility trucks. They had people come over here work for the factory, pretty much have the blueprints, and they just randomly disappeared one day, and they started making them over there. It's like they're just coming over here, learning how to redo it, build it, get the blueprints.
Oh yeah, okay, they do that with professors all over the country in all different fields to learn stuff.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
Like, why do we allow this?
Well, and I'm sure, like, if you did that for them now with their social credit course, credit system, like you would be a hero. Like,
yeah, it'd be nuts.
Yeah.
So what else you guys got?
It's cold outside.
Yeah, it is.
70 to 30 in a day. Gotta love it.
Winterize my motorcycle and piss me off. I mean, I got it done just in time. I put I knew the temperature was going to drop that day. I think it was Thursday?
Yeah.
Or whatever. So I ran a couple errands on the bike in the morning, and I got home. And then the first thing I had to get ready was the scooter, get that winterized. So I tried
to winterize them.
Well, I was trying to run the gas out, and I realized that was just going to take forever because I had it running for like 45 minutes and it went down like none. So I just put
that would take days.
Yeah. So I just put stabilizer in there, drove it around the block just to kind of get in there, put it in the shed. I put it up on the main kickstand and disconnected the battery.
Yeah.
And just call that good. And then the bike, I put the stabilizer in the gas tank, and then I hooked up the battery tender, gave it a nice wipe down, put a cover over it. So
you got it a lot easier than I do with the boat.
Yeah.
I took it into the shop, spent $700 on having all the fluids changed and winterization process.
I always hear boats are a money pit.
And then had to tow it to another location to be stored all winter, which cost another
boat stands for
$600.
Bust out another $1,000.
Yeah.
And then my towing for my boat was due. I spent $1,400 on my boat in November, and it never hit the water.
So when you take it out, you don't have to change those fluids again, right?
No, it's ready to go as soon as I'm ready to start it. And they leave it in a winterized process to where like I don't take it back to them or anything. Like it'll just start up right now and be ready to go. But I have a closed cooling boat too, which is pretty rare. So it actually has antifreeze in it. Most boats don't. It's all water cooled.
Yep.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, it's way colder than it should be right now.
Yeah.
It's like I'll get the bike. It'll be warm days in November, December. Like last year, December was nice for the most part. Now it's looking like shit.
Yeah, I'm hoping we have zero snow.
We've already had snow.
We had snow, but it didn't stick.
Hasn't been that cold yet.
Yeah.
Hopefully the roads.
Hopefully it stays like that.
Yeah. Well, we got to get ready for next week's episode number 50.
Yup.
Trying to figure out what we're going to do for that. Try and bring in some blind whiskey tasting maybe.
Yeah, thanks, Joe.
Yeah, Joe had to go to town for that.
Yep.
So if Jacob's not doing anything, maybe we'll...
Hopefully we can make that work out. I would love to be a part of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to throw in Evan Williams, even though none of us has tried it, just to see if we can taste a difference.
Is that the like super, super cheap
It looks like Jack Daniels, but super like
but it's
bottom
like,
shelf.
it's like $12 or something.
Yeah. So see if like we try that and then also try Blanton's if we're going to notice it, which I would hope so, but you never know.
I think we can now. We're starting to tell like which
I think
ones
in
got
there
the heat.
too, you should throw in the Jesse James for bottom end whiskey. It tastes better than. I'm not saying it tastes less than Jack, but it tastes drinkable on the rocks where I wouldn't complain about it compared to like a lot of the stuff I've had that's more expensive.
So we need to figure out how we're going to do it. Like, are we just going to, one, should we do bottles that we've already had so that we kind of know what they taste like and could possibly.
I think we should have a list of what the possibilities could be, and we number which ones we think they are what.
Do like the cardboard box thing
Yeah.
with the straws where you can't see and take turns.
That are the girls bring us up like, this is number one. You guys should try it.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Which ones do you think it is?
How many should we do?
I don't know.
Depends on.
We got a lot of whiskey.
We got something down there, but we're definitely need to
The
get Jack
problem is,
Daniels.
the last one is going to be the hardest.
Yeah.
Like, after you've tasted.
Yeah,
You
because
know,
you could really
half a
mess
dozen
with, you
whiskeys.
could mess with the palate.
Well, and the fact
too.
that we like
Yeah.
them the best on ice, but we're gonna have to do this neat.
We need to find something that's a good palate cleanser in between.
Yeah.
Maybe ginger ale or something. I don't know.
I don't know.
Ginger is, but God, I hate ginger ale. But
But it's supposed to like ginger is supposed to refresh your palate, like with sushi and stuff too. So I don't know.
we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for that. But yeah, I think coming up on that hour mark, should probably say all those things, Chris.
You're listening to us on any platform such as Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Hit that follow.
I messed that up.
If you're watching us here on YouTube, this is a YouTube podcast. So remember, hit that like, subscribe, leave us a comment, and tickle our bell.
All those things that he just said.
Exactly.
Do it.
Have a good one.
Doubting whether it's true, all the things you said you